up, Zone Squads? Welcome back. Our last form, our factored form. Usually the form is in x minus p, x minus q. All right, p and q are actually your x-intercepts. I'm going to explain why. The reason why they are x-intercepts is because if you let, how do you find x-intercepts? You let y equal 0. So if you let y equal 0, we're going to ignore the a value, and we get this guy here. Using the zero product property, it shows that anything times 0 is 0. So our goal is to get this factor equal to 0 and that factor equal to 0. Once we do that, it's actually true. We actually get it equal to 0. So if I set each factor equal to 0, we're trying to make the whole factor equal to 0, and we solve for x. We get p and q. Oops, q here. That means p comma 0 and q comma 0 are your x-intercepts. So remember, every form has its special, pros. It's easy to find certain things. In factored form, x-intercepts is very easy to find. All right. What do you do after that when we try to graph it? Well, once we have x-intercepts, let's say we have p here and then q here. Once I know my x-intercepts, all we need to do is find the line of symmetry. Well, the line of symmetry is in the middle. So a middle is going to be, in this case, here. So the formula, which I don't want you guys memorizing, the formula is actually p plus q divided by 2. We're just finding the average distance from your x values. But I actually would rather have you just visually look at it, plot your x-intercepts, and then see where your middle's at. That's your line of symmetry. That's your LOS. And after you find that, how do you find your vertex? Good. Somewhere on this line of symmetry is your vertex. So we just we plug in your line of symmetry back in. Kind of like vertex form, or even standard form. Once we find the line of symmetry, we can substitute it back in for x and then solve to find your y value of your vertex. All right, so let's take an example. Let's say y is equal to x minus 4, x plus 4. Right, it's already factored for you. Our goal is to go from standard form to find my x-intercepts to factor it to get into factored form. So we're going to practice that soon. So, well, our goal is to set y equal to 0. And after that, our goal is to set each factor equal to 0. Think about it. If anything times 0 is 0, or 0 times anything is 0. So if I set each factor equal to 0, and we solve, and 4 and then negative 4 are my x-intercepts. So right now, we have negative 4 and then positive 4 are my x-intercepts. Well, where's my middle? If I just look at this, my middle is actually right at the origin. It won't always be there. It's just my examples just work that way. Well, somewhere on here is going to be my vertex. So all I have to do is, because my LOS is 0, all I have to do is plug in 0 for x and I can actually find it. So if I plug in 0 for x and we solve this, we get negative 4 times 4, which is negative 16. So 0, negative 16, somewhere down here is your vertex on your line of symmetry. We know it's a happy face because my a value is positive, and then we get this parabola like that. Okay. So once again, label all your points, negative 4 comma 0, 4 comma 0. It's a happy face. To find my x-intercepts, we actually just set each factor equal to 0. And then to find my line of symmetry, figure out where my middle's at. And then to figure out where my vertex is, your vertex is always on your line of symmetry. So all we have to do is plug it in for x, and we're just trying to figure out my output when my input is my line of symmetry. So that concludes my lesson with factored form. We're going to do 3 problems. Let's get ready for that. Check your notes, make sure everything's good, and let's get ready for the 3 problems. Good job. All right, so on squads, let's try our beginner problems. If I have y equals 2, x minus 1, x plus 4, right? And I want you to find the x-intercepts. So remember, what form are we in? That's the first thing we should figure out. once we're in this form, how do you find your x-intercepts? Look at your notes real quick. I'm gonna give about 30 seconds to a minute. Try your best. Go. Alright, so welcome back. Let's try this. How do we find my x-intercepts? How do you find my x-intercepts? You have to understand this because you have to be able to find x-intercepts and y-intercepts for any function. The great part is it's universal, so you can use it for any function. So to find my x-intercepts, you let y equals 0 and then solve for x. Vice versa, to find your y-intercept, you let x equals 0 and solve for y. So in this case, let's plug in 0 for x. You get that? This 2 is irrelevant in this case because it is just a constant. There's no way it's not going to affect the problem. So it doesn't matter. Our x-intercepts will always remain the same. The a value is not going to affect my x-intercepts. Think about it. If you reflect, let's say a is negative, and you reflect that graph, your x-intercepts will still be at the same x-intercepts. Alright, so let's try this. I set those guys equal to 0, so x minus 1 equals 0, x plus 4 equals 0. We solve this. We get plus 1 on both sides, minus 4 on the other side. These are my x-intercepts. I like to put them in points, because that's what they're asking for. And we get that. So my x-intercepts at 1, 0, and negative 4, 0. Alright, so double check your work, make sure you did your math correct. And let's get ready for our intermediate problem. Alright, my intermediate problem, y equals 1/2 x plus 1, x minus 7. I want you to find my line of symmetry. Okay, we're taking one extra step more. So find me my line of symmetry. Your hint, you do need to find your x-intercepts and then figure out where your middle's at. So I'm going to give about 30 seconds to a minute. Try your best. Don't give up. I'll give you about 30 seconds to a minute. Go. Alright, welcome back. We need to find my x-intercepts first. So how do you find x-intercepts again? Good. You let y equals 0. Solve for x. Does 1/2 do anything in this case? No. All you can do is set 1/2, x plus 1 equals to 0, x plus 7 equals to 0. These are your factors. When we do this step, you get your solutions, your x-intercepts. So you get negative 1, and then you get 7. So if I graph negative 1 and then 7, where's my middle? Well, just cut it out, right? You go 1 here, 1 here, 1 there. Then my middle has to be here. So middle is actually at x equals 3. That's your line of symmetry. So somewhere on here will be your vertex. Okay? You could have done your formula where x, one intercept plus the other intercept, divided by 2. So you get 6 divided by 2, which is 3. That's another way of looking at it if you can't see it visually. But visually is a lot easier for students, so I try to teach it that way instead of trying to memorize another formula. So check your answers. Let's get ready for our advanced problem. Good job. Our advanced problem. Here's the advanced problem. I want you to graph it. Do the whole thing. Graph it. So look at your beginner, your intermediate. Those guys should help you get to here and do one extra step. So I need about a minute for this one. Try your best. Don't give up. Go. Alright, you guys ready? Let's try this out. So let y equals 0. We're going to find our x-intercepts. Remember, this negative 2 is irrelevant right now. It's not going to affect my x-intercepts, but it does tell you it's a stretch reflected. So then it's a vertical stretch. So then all you have to do is set each one equal to 0. So you have negative 2, and you have positive 6. So right, you have negative 2, positive 6. I want to find my line of symmetry where my middle's at. So if I go 2 here, 1 there, 2 is my formula. Or you can just done x plus both of them divided by 2. So you get 4 divided by 2, which is 2. We've done that way too. Somewhere on here is my vertex, my y value. So let's plug in 2 in for x. So I'm going to plug that in real quick. Might be a big number, but it's okay. So you have negative 2 times 4 times negative 4. So that turns positive. So you get negative 2 or times negative 16, which is positive 32. which makes sense because my vertex has to be the highest point. So 2, 32. And since my x-intercept's down here, we actually get that sad face. And then we get 6, 0, and then negative 2, 0. And there is your graph. It's vertically stretched, so it's a little bit skinnier. It's reflected. You have your x-intercepts at negative 2 and 6. Your vertex, your line of symmetry is right in the middle, so at 2. And then once you plug that in, we get a height of 32. So if you throw a ball, the highest would be like 32 from a distance of 2 in the middle. So if I'm standing at negative 2 and someone's standing at 6, my middle has to be 2 where the ball has to be thrown. So that concludes our lesson for factor form. Hopefully the video helped you. Please always go over your notes, try the problems over again. Use always supplementary problems from your textbook. This is not just enough. You do need to try other problems and do that every day. But hopefully this video has helped you. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Turn on your notifications. Let's get ready for some math videos. Good job.